Alright, so let's paint the crossguard. So it pretty much, this is really similar to the blade. I was just a little more subtle, and I'll actually add some little green oxidation stuff on it. It's really the only unique thing, but otherwise it's kind of the same thing. You're trying to generate some surface detail and picking and pulling highlights. This part actually didn't turn out too bad. This is the section that I was most worried about, thinking that I was going to have a lot of problems with it, but wasn't too bad actually, which is always a good thing. And so I had some scratches and dents on this thing, but I kind of restrained myself and didn't do it nearly to the level that I do on the blade. Here's that oxidation stuff I was talking about. I'm just thinking this is some kind of copper alloy, probably bronze. And copper always gets that green color to it, like the Statue of Liberty. That's made out of copper. So I wanted to include that in here, just kind of as a contrast, I guess, with all the, because it would just be like a boring giant chunk of of bronze without it. So I wanted something to make it a little bit more interesting. And I actually like how bold I was there initially, but I kind of chicken out and I tone it down a lot by the final thing. Would have been kind of fun to just paint the whole thing that color, like it came up off of a shipwreck or something, some old ancient Greek ship or something. But that wouldn't make a very good tutorial, I don't think. So yeah, so I do all this, I kind of waste some time here, and I put in like that really saturated orange you see there to kind of counterbalance all the really neutral grays that I'd put in there. I don't know where I got that green. That like lime green in there. But I think later that I use like a blend mode to kind of brighten it all up, because it looks a little too dull to me. Just in contrast with the blade. It would be okay if I was shooting for a little bit more realism, but kind of want it to be a little bit fantastical, or whatever you would call it. A quick way to make something look solid is put those little pores into it. Just put a little dark spot and pick out a highlight on the underside, and automatically looks hard, like a hard surface. Picking out the highlight on the bottom kind of sharpens it up. Yeah, the shadows on that extrusion thing are way too, I don't know, harsh, I guess. It's like most of the rest of this stuff is fairly soft lit, and then that thing has like these pretty contrasty shadows. I can't remember if I dial them down or not. That's always the difficult part about doing tutorials to me, is I'm so hypercritical of my stuff, you know? And so I watch these things like, oh man, I wish I could go in and fix that, you know? That's like I was just listening to, I edited the UV section or whatever, where I did the UV unwrap, and I was thinking the whole time, I was like, why do I keep using the L key to select those instead of just turning island select on, you know? Stuff like that. It's like, why do your mistake seems so amplified, and you almost just want to re-record stuff and just get in this infinite loop. At least I do. I don't know. Why am I even talking about that in the middle of this? Here I am adding some highlights that I shouldn't be. Almost looks green. That's really interesting. Yeah, this is, you always want to save them highlights and the shadows until the very end because you don't know how dark or light you need to make them. It's like they need to be unified with everything else, and it's like these highlights aren't going to match the brightness that I have on the blade, and they might not match the brightness I have on the handle. So I should have waited on all of those until I do the little touch-up pass at the end. I'm working on the shadows again. You don't want, whenever you have a shadow, you usually don't want to put too much texture detail in it. It doesn't look right when you do it. It's kind of shaping up. Actually, I struggled with these end pieces quite a bit. I don't know why. I mean, there's nothing about them that's particularly difficult. I just couldn't come up with something that I liked. I think I paint out that highlight before this is over. I can't remember though. Or at least tone it down a bit because it's way too bright right now. Maybe not. It looks like I'm adding more of it. I don't know. So I should have done something with that little extrusion. I don't know. I just couldn't think of anything though. So it's just kind of like a pointless detail. I must have noodled on this longer than I thought because I'm not really making any progress when I keep painting stuff. I just need to learn to call it quits earlier, I guess. Just whenever I think that I'm done, uh, subtract like 10 or 15 minutes before then. Here I tried to add some of that oxidation stuff down there at the bottom, but I don't think it really works. I think I get rid of that in the touch-up video, if I remember right. Yeah, it's another case where you don't want to be too dark on the when you put in those little dents and stuff. It's getting there. I tried to get a little bit more interesting dent down here at the bottom, and I kind of forgot about it, and I never got back to it. Oh well. Yeah, see, kind of getting rid of some of them highlights at least. All right, so that's pretty much it for Crossguard, at least until I do the touch-ups. So I will see you in the next one where we do the handle.